So yeah, welcome officially everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are in the world. This is Open Sessions 2. This is a series of community gatherings we are promoting this semester at the Open Knowledge Foundation to discuss from Open Data Editor some other broader issues that are important to the community and some challenges and issues that we've been facing during the development. And also it's an opportunity to listen and to learn together and to do some consultations on what are the paths that we should go or not, and what are the issues during this way, let's say. We are very happy to do these things because we feel that like through these gatherings, the community is getting stronger and getting together, more faces that are starting to know each other. So like the conversations are starting to take shape beautifully. And this is actually our intention. So it's one per month. We did the first one in July. There's the second one in August. There are two more in September, October. You can see all the details in our blogs. We'll be promoting each of them when it's time to promote them. So you'll be able to know when they are happening. And today's theme is AI. We've been discussing a lot of AI recently, both in the field of literacy, but also in the technical discussion. But I think it will be mostly what we'll be discussing today. As you know, Open Data Editor and everything we are doing under the Tech We Want umbrella initiative is focused on non-technical communities today. So that's why we did this provocation. Like the title of this session is very basic, right? Like what happens when you upload your data to an AI-powered service, and because we just realize it, like with community consultation and user research and so on, that people are not really aware of this like really basic thing. So this is an opportunity to start the conversation there and then go into more, of course, advanced technical aspects and other perspectives. Yeah, this is it. This is only an introduction by me. Maybe I'll move over and give the floor to Sarah, who can introduce more specifically like what we're doing with AI, or Romina, who is also here. She's the product owner for Open Data Editor. But the idea here is that this is not really structured, and that's on purpose. But we just put this provocation out there so people can respond and have a real conversation about it. And so feel free really to jump anytime, to use the chats and whatever. Like this is really a community hour, right? That's it. Sarah, do you want to complete something I talked, or Romina? Yeah, feel free. Like the floor is yours, but also everyone else.
Thank you, Lucas. I think you did a very good overview. I see that Romina is not connected to the audio, so I mean, Romina, if you can hear us, you can jump in and complete whatever I'm saying. If not, I'll just give you a very brief overview. And then maybe what could be nice, if Romina cannot join with the audio, is that maybe I can pass it on also to some of our pilots that are here. So Mohit, for example, or Mohammed, so they can tell, because they've been testing our AI integrations. So just for you to know as a context, we are developing Open Data Editor. And while we're doing so, we are always having some organizations and some communities that test the application and really integrate it in the workflow, so that we can get basically like insight on whether what we're doing is really useful for people or not. And this particular cohort, we have 5 organizations. I saw that Tatenda is also here from an AI of our own. But basically we have 5 organizations that are testing specifically our AI integrations. We added 2 local LLMs to Open Data Editor in early August. And basically, we've been testing it together with the pilot organizations. Some of the things that we want to discover, because Open Data Editor is basically an application for people that don't have technical skills, and it's just for them to basically have a way that is local and safe and privacy friendly to test basically and detect errors in the datasets. And the idea that we had initially with AI and LLMs was, let's find a way basically to help people add some details, for example, or give some context about, for example, column names, or maybe given some insights about metadata. So this was basically like our idea. But I would just be curious to maybe hand it over to Mohit, who's here, and then Mohammed also, maybe if they want to maybe say something about this LLMs that they're testing. We know that the local LLMs do have some flaws because of course it's kind of like in development, it takes a long time for them to charge, so they're not always an ideal solution. But for us, it was very important to have something that was kind of like mission aligned and within our values, and something that was, privacy friendly. But of course, and I know that Ivan also sent some questions and participated in a discussion about it. There are other ways also that we can imagine basically AI. An AI use for Open Data Editor. But I don't know, Mohit, you want maybe to add something about your experience in testing the LLM integrations.
Thank you, Sarah, and hi everyone. I'm from India, and we have been testing OD quite some time now, and with like as we were very optimistic about the integration of AI module. And with the latest version, there are like many things happen. Like, earlier it was like error reported kind of thing, like these were error reported. But now there is like, there is like errors are there. Like, so it is reporting like missing columns, and then there is like this thing. So it is showing like these are the empty rows. So these are the specific errors and here. So it is showing one of our one. So it's quite easy for that thing. Other than this, if I talk specifically regarding AI module, like as Sarah has mentioned, that there are some limitations, and all I believe that every time, whenever you go for development, and especially, the main concern, with data, when people say that, we will be happy to use any kind of AI LLM model, but if it is online, there are some chances of somebody is taking up that data and nobody want to do it operations on their data. So that's a kind of a perfect approach that we will be having an.
I think you froze, Mohit. Let's give him maybe 1 minute to reconnect. Mohit, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm there.
Okay.
Can I? You're okay. So you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So another thing. Another thing, as we understand that it's an offline kind of LLMs are there. So it's showing media could not reach the server. But I am audible, na?
Yes, you are.
Because of some, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm back. So another thing, but
But now you're not anymore. I think he lost his connection.
Yeah, maybe we can move on to some other representative from Pilot, Mohammed, or something.
I think Mohit is reconnecting. So
Okay.
let's maybe wait a couple of seconds, and if he's not reconnecting, then yes, we can move to Mohammed. Mohit, are you here?
yeah, I'm there. Actually, I don't know why it's breaking and again. So I was speaking from that time, but I didn't know that I was there. So where I stopped, like as where I was last there.
You said we are currently testing, and then we lost you.
Yeah. So the two LLMs, people were like, they were saying that, if something can be options of like, these two LLM downloaded on here on like some USB or drive, and then it can be located in their laptop where that OD is installed in that particular folder. Because each whenever you download the LLM, it is located in particular, it is downloaded in particular folder of that drive. So if that can be an options can be there, because like many people don't have this, because we were planning the kind of session with different users, so they don't have that much internet connectivity, and also if we can transfer through hard drive and that thing is there. Then the third issue is regarding the prompt. Okay, like what yeah like it's like very simple prompt we can give, and it's quite working, that column, changing the column name and all. But we have seen that, just a second, we have made some points also. uh, yes. So another point, when we were looking after ODE with the prompt. So if we are all like, these days we are habitual of the kind of a prompt we are giving to in the form of any generative AI tool or ChatGPT and kind of thing. So we are in the thing like, this document I have shared also with I think in the Romina and the folder we are there. So what happened is like we have suggested like there is a author column is there in my data. I have a like bibliographic data is there of publications. So in that column, if we are saying that like just if I share my screen, where that option is there to share the screen. Uh,
Yeah, now you should have it.
Okay.
There's a button close to the webcam.
Okay. So that's our data set is there. Okay, so this is our data set. It's like bibliographic data, and we have kind of author, publications, and the source title and all. Everything's of the publication details are there. So one of the prompt what we have seen is, we have given that, correct, there is some issue with the column names, values in the columns. Okay, and there were like if we do like something like that. Okay, that there is no uniformity is there in the data set, and if we can make like correct the author column and first letter should be capital. Okay, now instead of like if that is not possible, but what it does, like whenever we give the execute thing, it gives us this 1111. Okay, so we either, like previously we have also discussed that with a cell kind of a thing, with each cell of that particular Excel, it's not kind of working in that sense. So if we are giving this, either it shows that okay, that's the limitation kind of a thing, or it automatically changes this 111. So the changes need to be reflected on. Okay, these are the changes which has been made by that thing. So we couldn't see that kind of a thing in that thing. So if that can be also added to that thing. Another thing then, this is, we want to have in this OD, especially with the kind of AI, kind of, the different prompts. Okay, there are like, by default there are some prompts are given up, like, but with the different data set. Okay, what all the different kind of prompts we can give, and how to give the right prompt, that's also, we need to think of. Okay, that okay, if you need to change up this thing, and how you can instruct that thing. Okay, and what all things is requirement. So if that can be also kind of explored in that thing. Then another thing is that we were like, looking after like, something like remove the prefixes and all. Okay, so it automatically detects, okay, these are the things are there. But if we see the complete response of our in our data set, it's not one thing is that like this is a data of almost 60,000 publications. Okay, so means there are like these different rows are there. So, okay, so we should also know that okay, these were the rows, these were the cell number. Okay, where it has changed. Okay, that's the thing. So it will be quite easy. Okay, the value is changed. Okay, it run, it executed it, done it. Okay, but how to just kind of make a report. Okay, these are the things. This has been changed, and how we can see that we have to see manually. So these are the few of the things where it can be improved. So, there is like much of the like, especially I like that with the latest version that earlier it was not such kind. It was reported the errors, but there was no like something like missing values are there, and then these were the incorrect columns are there. So that's a kind of an excellent work in ODE, which is helping a lot in terms of using ODE. And one more thing, can it be like we have suggested in that also, like suppose I will be using ODE, or maybe like from this, like with AI module, it has been set it like you have to uninstall that application. You have to install the fresh application. Generally, if we have an application, it should be updated one. Okay, if AI one is there, okay, like if we have asked our people like you use 1.6 version, okay, so is there like currently for if we are going with 1.60, we have to uninstall the previous version, and then we have to install the fresh one. Okay, so instead of that thing, if update option should be there, okay, in the system, in the interface only, okay, we can update. So it will be quite easy for in terms of users. So these are yes, these are some of the things what we are doing up, and we have explored. And again, one more thing, this was we have previously also said, like not with AI one, but with AI also. And at that time, if Romina is there, Romina said that it's based on the machine configuration, because it's going slow and it is closing it down. But we have seen that with integrating LLM and all, like it is taking almost many of the users, in terms of they are not having the high configuration of machines. Okay, maybe around 8 GB of RAM, and then to 512 of SSD and all. So with this kind of thing, it is becoming a little slow for them, and it is like for big data set, it is closing again and again. This we have seen multiple times. We have shared the video also. So if anything, depend not something can be done, or how to we are just as a kind of taking up this product to the different people, and we say that okay, it's a kind of your system problem. Okay, you need to upgrade, and that things are there. Okay, but I don't know how to take up this thing among that. Okay, these are the things are there, and you need to kind of means you need to update these things. So that quite it slow down on these values, and also that again we need to look after that. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mohit. That was a very comprehensive overview of like how it is going with ODE. Maybe just I have a follow-up question for you, but like for anyone who's here also, because sometimes you mentioned some questions that came up while you were using the LLM prompts of Open Data Editor. So I'm just curious to know if like anyone here, you including, have like more general questions also about the use of AI with data, so that maybe we can use them as a starting point for discussion. There's one that I pointed down, for example, how to give the right prompt, which I think was a question that a lot of people ask themselves, but I don't know if there were any more. And also asking Mohammed and Tatenda, who are also here, and anyone really, if you want, you can ask them in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself.
Can I jump in? Yeah, as Ivan is here, I really would like to give him the opportunity to discuss with the community the things that you've been discussing with our team the last few days regarding your experience implementing AI locally as well, with different local LLMs and the challenges, right? Like for hardware and stuff. I don't know, just wanna if you want, of course, Ivan, but as we're here, I really wanna give you the opportunity to speak.
Sure, I can. I have a feeling that since I'm Eastern European, I'm always overcritical. And if it's okay for you, so no problem.
We love overcritical.
I shared my concerns with emails and in GitHub, and I would like to say that right now, Open Data Editor just jumping from low resource consuming application to the high level, a highly consuming application that require much more resources on the customers, users, laptops, computers, and it makes it quite heavy. And any common user, for example, I've tried to open Data Editor with several users that fill our scan instances, that prepare data and validate it, and they all of them say that AI right now unusable completely, since it freezes computers, since it consumes too much memory, and it doesn't fit existing AI infrastructure. Right now, AI infrastructure, AI-ready companies and or other groups, they use mostly external AI services. I'm not saying cloud services. External. External could be very different. For example, companies like Nebius or DigitalOcean, they provide API to assess open models. They don't train them on data that you provide. Instead, they act like hosting providers, so they could allow you to just create Docker instance with specific open model, or something like that is already hosted by them. So instead of using local AI model, local LLM, most of us use just something using network. So it doesn't freeze computer, so it doesn't consume too much memory, and it allows to use advanced AI models. Since those two models that I've seen already as part of Open Data Editor, actually they're very weak. And even through Llama and Cuban, they have some advancement latest, but we try right now latest open models from OpenAI. We already shared them, and they're available via Llama or LM Studio, and they provide quite quality results. For example, for tasks that were already mentioned, like documenting or understanding column names. And this advances, it's very rapid, and you have to you have to be on edge. You have to monitor it daily, not monthly, not weekly, daily, how it updates. Or you allow user to use models that we already use and know. And I already shared that using Llama is much more flexible, or LM Studio is much more flexible, and similar tools, but I've already said they're not so similar to the Data Editor, but like OpenRefine, they already have integration logic with LM Studio, with Llama, or any other instruments. So right now, at least for me, Open Data Editor lacks flexibility in its AI functions, and I truly think that privacy-aware method, how it's implemented, actually is not usable for most non-technical users. For example, for me as technical user, I can use it. I can find hardware that will fit requirements to run Open Data Editor AI functions, but I guess not everyone can do that. So I think that's most critical implementation. It's architectural. It's not technical. It's also about privacy architecture. It's one issue, and another issue that I not already shared. I don't like to be too critical at once, so I could share it right now. Very limited applications of functions in Open Data Editor right now. Since, as I understand, it's only data validation tool, but it lacks most of data validation tools best practices. Like, for example, if I use data validation tool, I want to verify that nothing in my data has personal data. If you try to build privacy-aware application, you need to validate that the person who tried to submit data somewhere or to save doesn't include personal data, or it's aware about that personal data include if it's possible. And it's possible to automate this understanding with AI. For example, I already implemented in several data products that we identify personal identifiable information, PII, and we give warning to the user that such data is in the dataset that he or she is going to share. So I think that AI functions right now not for technical users. For technical users, there are just several very simple actions. For advanced users, yes, we will use prompts, but for non-technical users, AI driving, but very simple. And one of the very simple tasks to generate report on availability of any sensitive information in the dataset that we are going to analyze. So thank you, and sorry again if I was too critical.
No, not at all. I think it's very helpful, actually. I just want to make sure people who has their hands raised can speak. I think Tatenda from AOO and AI of our own wants to speak. So please jump in. I see Pato is here as well. Welcome. Tatenda, are you there? You just missed to listen Ivan's intervention, Pato, but I think we're aware.
Yeah, sorry, I had a conflicting meeting and I need to jump late. I want to be here because I'm interested in the discussion. Yeah.
Tatenda, we cannot hear you, I think. Try again.
To me, you can't hear me?
No, Tatenda. Now.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Now, yes.
Sorry. Yes. I think Sarah's question was very interesting. It's just that I couldn't hear it all because there was some background noise on my end. So I don't know if you can repeat it. And I think maybe I would like to answer that.
My question, I think I was just repeating Mohit's question, which was how to give the right prompt. Is that the question you're talking about?
Yes, because then it's also one of the questions that I raised in our previous calls about writing prompts. I think I didn't hear the whole question, but I think it's something that is necessary if we can have it on Open Data Editor, maybe as part of the AI component, which can help also the non-technical users to understand, or rather to get the full functionality of the Open Data Editor. But maybe just also to highlight on Ivan's concerns, is the same concern that we are also facing here, where the ODE, when you try to go to execute the task with AI, it just shut down, it crashes. So I think it's also an issue of the hardware, and mine it's a Windows 10, I think. So the first time I installed it, it worked, but now I've tried like several times on different type of data, and it crashes. I've also tried with small data sets, it still crashes. So yes, I don't know how that can be addressed and how that can be solved, because I was thinking that maybe it could be an issue of memory, but I'm not too sure about that, where it becomes heavy, because I'm using Llama, which is very little in memory. So yes, it's my major concern.
Yep. Probably that sounds like a bug in the application, more than like another thing. So, I mean, a good way to solve it is just submitting an issue to Open Data Editor, or like writing to us an email, and we can take a look at it. Like, we have problems with Windows support because we don't have like Windows machines. So we try to take care of it. But sometimes like Windows sleeps a little bit. But I have received like 3 issues regarding to Windows, and some people can run it, other people have other issues. So just submit an issue and we will take care of it.
I see that Mohammed, also you have your hand raised. But we cannot hear you. It looks like your microphone is not connected, I think. Oh, now yes. Try now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
I hope there's no background noise disturbance.
A little bit, but we can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, I think we also face similar challenges, and I have not really done so much with the use of the AI button, because once I click on the AI button, the system will crash. So initially I thought it was tricking the prompt, because usually when I see the prompt, I will change the prompt to suit my data set, but it will crash. I think I sent a couple of emails to Romina complaining about that, and she mentioned to me this morning that she has submitted an issue on that on GitHub, so I'm sure it will be looked into. But again, I was thinking about the prompt. Is it possible we could use the local LM to maybe give us prompts? With OpenAI and other forms of AI, you can basically ask it for a prompt for a particular task, then it generates the prompt for you, then you feed it back to the AI again, and you get your response. So for non-technical users who don't have the ability to write their own prompts, or who might not be able to write very good prompts to solve their own issue, maybe the LLM should be able to help them create a prompt, or even instead of the main prompt that is already by default that is given to you, I feel it is proper the text just come enter your prompt, because sometimes even when you click on the AI, then it brings you the dialog box telling you how it is run locally. Then next is the prompt. You might even get confused as to how to tweak the prompt. But if you make it open, the text is just simple, enter the prompt. Then the user is able to enter the prompt he or she wants and then execute. Instead of like a preloaded prompt that the person has to now decide whether he should tweak it or not. Some people might not even know that they are supposed to tweak the prompt. So the first time I tried, I didn't tweak the prompt. I just hit on execute. Then I got a prompt. I got another dialog box that said, wait, like please wait for some time, and the system crashed. I had to uninstall, reinstall another one. It crashed so many times. I changed a different device, also Windows 11 machine, and it never worked for me. So there are two basic things I'm bringing here. One is the issue of the prompt, where the LLM allows you to be able to just ask it for the prompt based on your issue. And the second thing is that the default prompt that is given to you should be made simpler. Something like enter your prompt, then the user is able to enter his or her prompt. Thank you.
Can I try to link conversations here before we go to Mohammed? Thank you for the introduction now. And actually, let's get back to the question that is we are trying to answer in this session. Because what happens when we upload data to AI services, right? Like that's the first thing that we put, and then when we say like things are breaking, local LLMs do not work, blah, blah, blah. So there's maybe these two things are connected. So I want to really give a chance to Pato, if it's okay, who is our technical lead, to explain that. Like what happens when we upload data to AI services, and try to explain that having in mind like why it's breaking in some machines, So like, what's the flow of things there? I'm just getting back to the non-technical perspective here, if it's okay. I don't know. Just wanted to get back to this, so we can try to connect the problem with the abstract conception of like what happens when you upload data to an AI service. I don't know if it makes sense. Anyway, like Pato, if you want to do it, it could be cool.
Yes, but I mean, it has like a lot of dimensions, that question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because to try to connect the two, and we need to talk about like the technical dimensions. So what happened technically when you upload your data to AI services, but the what happens also has like all the ethical and moral consequences. So let's start by I'm gonna do 2 steps back. In order for an LLM to work, you need to provide with an input. Even more, if you want the LLM to do something with your data, you need to provide to the LLM your data in order to understand the context of it. So it requires an input. I mean, LLMs models have some mechanisms to like answer given questions, but if you want to provide a context to it, so you say, hey, I want your answer to be based on this data, you need to provide the data. So basically what it is just put your data in a text and send it as an input to the LLM. It's no major thing over there. It's just like concatenating a string and sending it to it. It's kind of like giving them a book to LLM read. So then we have like 2 things. First, if you are working with a huge data set, for example, let's say not huge, but say you have a data set of 200 megabytes. If you want to send it to the cloud or to like any provider, you need first to upload those 200 megabytes, which in our context and in our scenarios and our use case, sometimes that's a problem, because if you want to ask questions around your data and you need to upload 200 megabytes each time you want to like ask a question, that can create problems for some of our users. And second, because some of our pilots, some of our communities are like quite sensitive with their data, because we're working with human rights activists, with journalists, and they don't want to take their data out of the system. But if you want to ask questions about your data, you need to provide your data. That's kind of like a limitation. So that's why we say, okay, we need to like compromise. I mean, we say, okay, we want to explore AI because it's part of the project and the goal of the project. We have a community that doesn't want their data to get out of their machine. At that time, we didn't know about like the suggestions of Ivan of like, hey, there are like middle grounds here. But at the same time, we work with people that maybe are out in the fields, or like they are journalists, that freelancers, so they don't have like this kind of infrastructure. So they say, okay, we need to start somewhere. And we say, okay, let's start with local LLMs. But the main problem is that currently the technology of local LLMs is quite, I'm not going to say basic, but limited. And that's the main reason why we don't have like potent AI in our phones, because the technology to run LLMs is still very dependent on a lot of resources, a lot of RAM, a lot of CPUs. So when we upload the data to the AI services, basically we give like all of our data sets to the model, and the model needs to process all that data and generates like a result. So that can cause us like several problems. I think that the crashes are mostly related to maybe bugs in Windows that we need to resolve. But yeah, at the same time, it's true that if we put like 200 megabytes or we put like a lot of resources into the LLM that is run locally, and if you have a machine of 8 gigabytes of RAM or 40 gigabytes of RAM, this is going to break because there is a technical limitation. We knew when we created this feature that was going to happen, but we needed to start somewhere. At the beginning of the year, we were speculating that maybe the performance of these local models were gonna like improve because we were seeing like last year like good improvement. That didn't happen. The models are still the same as 10 months ago. So in terms of like performance, we are still having like that bottleneck. So yeah, basically what happens technically when you upload your data to your service is that you need to take every single byte of your data and put it into the model. Also, it depends on the prompt that you create because the data is part of the prompt. So you can then select, okay, I say, I'm not going to upload 200 megabytes of my data to the model to do a process. I'm just going to upload the column names. So, okay, that means that the amount of data you need to share and you need to send to the LLM is going to be less. That probably is going to have an impact in the performance. It's going to take less time to run. So then you can like have like a slice of data to the model. But in the terms of and the context of the open data editor, that creates some challenges because if you want, for example, to say, hey, can you suggest me how can I fix this column? You are forced to send to the LLM all the column because if you don't send all the information to the LLM, maybe the LLM doesn't know that on the last 100 columns, there is an extra category that can be used for like the solution. So in terms of use cases of AI, I mean, sometimes you are forced to send all the data, sometimes you are not forced all the data. The limitations can vary like a lot, depending on how much data you send to the LLM. But also we have like a strong limitation that LLMs can process n amount of words, X amount of words. And then, yeah, if your data set is bigger than that, you cannot send the whole data set because the LLM has a limitation. Oh, I cannot process all this information. Give me like a shorter version of it. So yeah, I mean, in small machines, it's probably expected crashes. Is if you don't have enough RAM, maybe, I mean, we didn't have like the resources to do like a huge exploration of what would happen. I mean, we don't have like 10 virtual machines to test like what happens in each scenario of each operating system because now you are like several dimensions. Now you don't need to only assure that your application works in Linux, works in Windows, works in Macs, but also works in Windows with 4 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes. So your matrix of the scenarios to test gets like super complex. So I think that's where like the crashes comes in that we don't have like enough coverage for that matrix of possible scenarios when we launch the application. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm starting to ramble, but that's kind of like what's happening. And what are like the limitations and why we choose like this use case. I mean, the local LLMs was like a idea and also like a long shot to say, hey, when we started this in January, we were expecting this to, yeah, if we local elements like grew in performance, maybe this is like a good solution. It's not happening, so we are going to be limited. So yeah, sorry, that's a little bit the context. I don't know, Lucas, if I answered like the question or not, but it's giving a little bit more of context.
Yeah, sure. Anyone wants to intervene or legacy or have your hands raised? Yeah. Next class.
Hello, yes, cool guy from Switzerland here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so like I appreciate this discussion here. And personally, I think just recognizing that not everybody has a GPU with 60 gigabytes of RAM, and having maybe an eye on the emerging. There are now CPU first LLMs coming out. Things are getting really optimized, and for some use cases, maybe that's enough. But generally, my opinion is don't even try. Work with Llama, Llama Index, these, what is it? These existing open source projects that load, cache, and handle the management of LLMs rather than reinventing this. For me, the much bigger issue is kind of like just the topic of what happens when you upload your data to AI services. I think we're kind of on a tangent here, on a technical requirements kind of tangent. For me, the key question still remains. I think Patricia, you kind of shrugged it off, but I really would like to know exactly how you think the encoding and tokenizing of structured data is happening in LLMs. I mean, first of all, before we even get to LLMs, there has been decades of development in AI models for the treatment of structured data. All those techniques of forecasting and predicting, we're always a bit out of reach for, let's say, lay people. And now with all this interest in AI, I would hope that the use of specialized models and the creation of specialized models to develop, those kinds of machine learning features would be more within grasp. So I'm wondering if this is also something that you're aware of, kind of these structured data on a more kind of basic AI model level, without even LLMs.
Yep. I think that you are like right in the spot on that question. I mean, I have been working in AI. Well, I worked a lot in AI like 10 years ago when AI was not LLMs. And I know like there are like a lot of models of artificial intelligence. I mean, sadly now the word artificial intelligence has been eaten by LLMs. So everyone wants to have like LLMs. But yeah, I mean, like forecasting, like decision trees, Markov chains, they are like artificial intelligence models that they are like super specific for like tabular data, for like working with this kind of data, but they got eaten by like now everyone wants LLM. So I mean, in terms of product, it's not that we are not thinking about it. It's just like now we are also trying to understand what do people and our use case and our use case wants from AI. Because one thing is true that all others, like more traditional AI models, I think they are like more result and analysis oriented. So they are like really good for example, I don't know, clustering or like driving insights from the data. But sometimes like our use base doesn't want to have insights from the data because they are not in the stage of insights from data. They are at the stage is like, hey, I want to know how to fix my data. So that's why we are thinking right now maybe like LLMs are like a better option for it, because it is helping with the data cleaning. And I don't know, I mean, honestly, we are like in early stages of this, but from the feedback that we are getting from our pilots, everyone wants to know what to do with their data. They're having like conceptual problems. I mean, I have data, but I don't know what to do with it. In order for you to use like these other AI tools, you need to know, okay, I want to do a forecasting. I want to do an analysis. I want to get that insight. I want to do a clustering. I want to like separate this data in categories. I think that we are working with an audience that is like one step below that, which that's what I say like in the email to Ivan. I don't think our target audience is data analyst, which I initially like large AI models are developed to. I think that we are trying to work with people that are struggling with even like basic things, and maybe like AI and LLM can help with that. although some clustering to detect like nonsense categories in your data can be like a really, really good use case, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I went to tangent.
Yeah, so I also don't want to open a huge can of worms here, but I will drop 2 links for you to think about. Well, I'm working with Hugging Face right now, like on this, I'm helping to launch an LLM in Switzerland. I mentioned this in one of our previous calls, right? And there's a good paper from them on structured output as a kind of like API format. And I think, as I wrote just in my other comment in the chat, with frictionless data, we should be playing a role in this. We should be helping to define a standardized and open way of dealing, creating our AI services. So I really hope we put this back on the agenda and really bring in the frictionless data community, not just the interest group around the open data editor.
Ivan, do you want to go next? I see that your hand is raised.
Yeah. So sorry, I have too much to say about that. Patricio, I completely disagree that you cannot analyze data and validate it locally or not locally. It's already solved in many tools, and the easiest way is to use distinct value the columns. The more advanced way, when you chunking the data and consuming it to the AI model. Just it's impossible to do in a way that you use LLM locally, since it will paralyze computer not just for dozens of seconds, but for dozens of minutes. It's very, very source consuming. If privacy aware mode is so critical, there are so many ways to implement it. You could just create a Llama server on any resources that OpenWatch Foundation owns. You could just create some privacy aware rules not to save in anything and to provide for users that use. That's just one of the ways, not best, since it will consume lots of your resources, but still it will not consume resources of the user. And there are so many ways to use other solutions like Llama and so on. But you could use all of the data to be analyzed. Just it takes a lot of time. And time then you work in agent mode, when you take a chunk of the data, put it into the model, and get the response. Also, the case that you mentioned, sorry, I never seen any comparison of models that you choose. Have you tried to try at least 10 models and to verify which one of them provides best results, what is time mistakes, which hardware used, and how it's done by many products. So any AI products require some performance test cases. And same about that. If you mentioned big data set, but most data sets are very small. Almost 99% of the published data sets are about 1 kilobyte. And if you have to use so much resources just to understand, to analyze 1 kilobyte data sets, it's unusable. It's unusable right now. So if it's a big data set, you could not apply all AI functions to it, or you could warn user that it's not so easy to do. But most data sets will be small, and you could do that. And privacy aware mode using network services is also very simple. Llama has nearly ideal documentation. You just install it, you just organize provider setup, you just set the computer that could be used, and you use it. So it's very simple. The local only LLMs, it just it makes open data editor right now completely unusable, at least in with AI functions. I don't know about anything else, since scan support was removed from Open Data Editor. I don't know even how I could use Open Data Editor right now. It was great with its integration with scan and Zenodo. Right now, I see that it's removed. But without AI functions, I don't understand how to use it. What for? It's not it's not the question what user need. It's the question what for open data that are using. So, for example, if you can't use AI functions, if you can't use it to publish on scan, so we had to use different tools, maybe not so non-technical user-friendly, but still usable. Sorry again for my such critical view.
No, it's okay. Let me quickly answer like a couple of those points. First, we didn't go for like also like a service of providing like OKFN service for like running models in the cloud. So yeah, you could say we could create like a cloud system to like people to use it, right? I think that the Open Knowledge Foundation did that with Good Tables IO back in those days, and it backslash. So when we started this project, it was like a strong focus to like, let's not go again to provide a service in the cloud where people need to upload the data, because that also creates like a bureaucratic nightmare for like the organization behind the scenes. Or at least that was the story of Good Tables IO, and that's why it wasn't our first approach. Not because we didn't think about it. I think it was like a bad story with other products. Second, yeah, I mean, we needed to like did like a couple of step backs with Open Data Editor, and I know it changed it like a lot from like the first stable release. But sadly, like even you are not our use base, and that's why I was trying to explain in the email. Yes, I know that some users are gonna get annoyed because we don't have like any Zenodo integration anymore or any SQL integration anymore. But at the same time, like 80% of our pilots or 90% of our pilots are people that are struggling even with way more basic things. And we need, and they say like, I'm scared with this tool. It's too big. It's too complex. I need something more simple. So that's why we step back a lot. I mean, we need to compromise. We knew that people were going to be kind of like, some people are going to say, oh, I don't have any more support for the frictionless schema, so I'm not, I don't use it anymore. Yeah, I know, but 80% of our pilots were saying, hey, we need something like even more simple, and that's why we deleted it. And I know that for you, there is no use case, and maybe there is no use for Open Data Editor right now. And yes, I mean, it's not that we're happy with that, but we needed a compromise. Yeah. And I am now, after like developing last one, I know that local LLMs maybe was like a huge mistake. But as I mentioned, like this discussion and I'm facing the reality is part of the project as well. It's part of what the funding wanted in the project, to say, hey, like explore ideas, and maybe like all these conversations and our mistakes can come out with a paper to say, hey, do not attempt this because it's not going to work, or you're going to have like everything. So we are trying to use also Open Data Editor to create guidelines for future projects. So even when I maybe was a mistake, I think that now we can document clearly why it's a mistake, what are all the problems that we are facing, and people in the future will say, yeah, if you want to do local elements, check that paper of the Open Knowledge Foundation. They try to do it. Those are like the pitfalls and everything. So yeah, but I honestly appreciate, Ivan, your feedback. I mean, I don't have problem with people like criticizing. Just to quickly answer to Mohammed, no, data is never used to train LLMs. Those are like different scenarios. One thing is like training, another thing is like using it. We don't use data to train LLMs. So it's not that the LLMs are going to improve the more you use it with your data, because that requires training them. And Open Data Editor does not train data, LLMs with your data.
I want to be aware of time. Actually, we're just moving a little on schedule, but I want to give a chance for Romina to speak, as she has her raise hand. Maybe you can do some wrap up as well, Romina. And
okay.
Also, didn't want to cut the conversation. Anyway, if you want to keep talking, that's fine. I mean, just want to be aware of everyone's time. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Lucas, and hi everyone. I'm Romy. I'm the product owner of the Open Data Editor. This has been a very interesting conversation for me. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things regarding the ODE and also the organizations that are working in the pilot. So we have, as you have seen, like a diverse team. We have technical people and non-technical people, but we also want to be aware of all the assumptions that sometimes organizations take when building tech. So one of the things that we discovered during these pilots is that people started asking questions like, what is a model? What is Llama? What is Gwen? What is this? What is AI? What happens when I send the data to a third party? So what we are trying to do also is to build tech that it's not perfect, but that will allow us to get questions, get feedback, and get insights to bridge that gap between technical people and not technical people. What I've seen today here is that there are a lot of conversations around this should be like this is how you should use AI or LLMs and other kind of stuff, but code is also cultural. And there are some cultural things that these organizations face when they work in different environments. For instance, here we are discussing LLMs. Some of the people that we are working on don't have internet connection or have electricity problems. So what we are trying to do is again, we all live in different environments and just, okay, let's implement something that will allow us to get a lot of questions, but also break our own assumptions to get feedback and to understand what we are doing. And I think that's key. And in terms of the research that we have done, we didn't find any kind of document, guide, or manual that explain organizations how to build these things responsible. There are a lot of conversations between academics and developers, but there's a missing conversation that we're trying to have here at Open Knowledge, which is what about non-technical users? Because code can be perfect, but it could not work, or maybe sometimes it doesn't solve problems from people. So I just want to leave this question here so we can wrap up the conversation. Lucas, over to you.
Yes, just want to give a chance for people who want to respond to that or whatever. Add their last comments, or I don't know, Sarah, Pato, Oleg, the ones who intervened. If not, it's okay to leave it there. Sarah jumped for another call, I think. Yeah, we're out of time. Anyone who wants to say anything, say it now, or we'll be closing the session.
No, I just want to say thanks for all the efforts here, and it's always easy to lob hard question grenades from the sidelines, but you're doing a great job here. It's really appreciated.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you. Super. That's it. Thank you all for coming. It's as always, take directions that we don't expect in the beginning, and that's about it, right? Those are community sessions, and people brings their perspectives, opinions, backgrounds, and that's amazing. Actually, that's a good thing about this. So, thanks for all the panels that came, Pato as well for your willing to collaborate, Romies, and everyone. We will let you know about the Open Sessions 3 in about a month. It's around AI as well, but AI literacy. So I think touching the points that Romina was just talking about, people actually are asking really basic questions in the civic society field. We just had one AI leaders workshop the other day, and we are trying to bring this to the community as well. The main question would be so how to teach, or how to approach teaching, AI, or for building capacity around AI, and you'll be very welcome to that conversation as well. That's it. Thank you very much, and have a great end of your day, afternoon, morning, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.